You are now tuned in to Peach State TV, where any gym is home. www.peachstatehoops.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to another episode. As always, we got our Assistant Director of Scouting here for the JumpOffPlus.com, Kyle Moore, in the studio with us. Talk a little bit about the Sweet 16 matchups and kind of what we've seen so far from the NCAA Women's Tournament. First matchup we've got UConn and Cal. Kyle, what do you think?
The UConn-Cal game is really intriguing. If you're a UConn fan, it's probably the best game matchup-wise that they'll have all tournament. You look at Cal, you look at some of the players that they're able to put on the court athletically, they match up well with UConn. I know everybody's looking forward to that Maryland matchup, a possible matchup in the national championship game, but UConn might struggle in this one. I still think UConn's going to win, but I think that they might struggle with Cal.
Hey, gotcha. Well, like I said, I took UConn a couple episodes ago. You took the field. This is your chance for the field to win. But yeah, touching Cal, we've talked about Ashley Walker. Definitely like her a lot. Lexus Gray lost. Cal does. They definitely do have the weapons to be able to make a push at UConn. Moving on, next game, Arizona State, Texas A&M.
I think, you look at Arizona State, they really rallied. They came down here to Georgia. They lost their point guard, Diamond Simon, for the season. They really rallied around each other and then got 2 wins. Obviously, they're in the Sweet 16 now. And then on the flip, you look at Texas A&M. They've been pretty consistent all season. They had one slip up where they were up big against Florida State down in Tallahassee and lost that game. But other than that, they've been really consistent. So you're looking at 2 programs and ball clubs that are coming in that should be playing good basketball against each other. It should be a good game.
Gotcha. Well, I was over at Gwinnett Arena, watched Arizona State play, and they just got tree after tree and wave after wave of players. They're playing 10 even after the loss assignment. Defensive Player of the Year out there, Breon January. So they really have it lined up right now. Charlie Turner-Thorne's done a great job out there getting in, and on the flip side of that, Texas A&M, Gary Blair's done a great job there in College Station, really putting it together. It's got some players. They're in real good shape as well. Moving on, what do you think about the next matchup, Iowa State and Michigan State?
Michigan State's gotten hot. You've got a 6'9" post player. So you think, obviously, anytime you have a 6'9" post player in the women's game, you're in good shape. And Dhani's been able to stretch defenses at 6'9", hitting the jump shot, and gotten really good guard play out of their guards. So they're able to knock off Duke, which is a big win for them, especially with Joanne McCauley being the former Michigan State coach. So they go in and they've got Iowa State, which is a team that's going to spread the floor and try to knock down some threes, and got a bunch of really good skilled players. So there's 2 teams with similar styles, but I think Dhani with the 6'9" frame, she's going to come out and be too dominant.
Yep. I would agree. I like Lucille Hahn a lot. Iowa State, one of the 3 standing from what has turned out to be a good run so far for the Big 12 with Oklahoma and then the aforementioned Texas A&M as well. Should be interesting to kind of see how that plays itself out. Moving on to a game that I'm looking forward to getting a chance to watch, Ohio State and Stanford. What do you think about that one?
Ohio State-Stanford game is going to be another good one. You've got, with Ohio State, you've got Sammy Perhalis, at the point, freshman. And, she's obviously done a good job this year getting the ball to the right people and spots. Got a chance to watch them on TV this weekend. And then with Stanford, they're a staple in the Sweet 16 and in this tournament. Tar Vanderveer's back again after a national championship loss. And, there were Jane Appel and Caleb Peterson and some of the players that they have on that team. And, you just see them play every year in March. So they're really used to watching them play. Should be a great game.
Yeah, definitely. Jim Foster's done a great job there at Ohio State after leaving Vanderbilt and now getting that thing really set and a couple cornerstone pieces and Perhalis and then Lavender there. They'll be there for a couple more years, respectively, for her, and then Sammy for 3. And obviously Stanford rules the left coast, so no surprise to see them back on the second weekend of the tournament. Purdue and Rutgers. Rutgers a little bit of surprise as a 7. Maybe a little help being able to play there the first couple rounds at home, but needless to say, they're here. So what do you think?
There's a tough thing about the NCAA tournament. When you've got a couple of teams, you look at Georgia Tech having to go play in Iowa at home. You look at an Auburn having to go play Rutgers at home, and Duke having to go play Michigan State at home. All 3 teams were the higher seed. So you look at that and you say, well, is that really fair? Is that the fair playing field? But that's just the way it is for some teams. So, obviously, C. Vivian Stringer's back in the Sweet 16. That Rutgers, any C. Vivian Stringer team is going to play great half-court defense. Maybe they got some help, maybe they didn't on a neutral court, who knows. But Purdue's another team that's been really hot this year. They had a huge win against Texas where they made Texas look like a JV team. So, it should be a great game. Purdue plays hard. They've got a couple of kids that come off the bench and can really score the basketball, which should match up well against the type of half-court defense Rutgers wants to play.
Definitely. I really like Purdue. Had a chance to watch them in the Big Ten tournament on TV. Purdue, I mean, just great team, and really done a great job with their Sharon Versup. And Brittany Raven has quickly become one of my favorites. She can score going either way. Much acclaimed guard out of high school, and just finally getting a chance to really sit and study her game a little bit. Really like her, and obviously Rutgers has Prince and some other weapons, so that should be one to watch. Moving on, looking at Pittsburgh and Oklahoma.
Pitt, another Big East team here. You got 4 Big East teams in the Sweet 16, so obviously what everybody was saying this year, the Big East is a strong conference. You've got Pittsburgh and you've got Oklahoma, 2 teams that play different styles of play. Obviously with Oklahoma, the first thing you think about is Courtney Paris, but you've got to think about Whitney Hand and Jackson, some of the other players that they have. And in Pittsburgh, you've got another team that is going to play, they're going to try to get up and down a little bit and try to get the ball out to their athletes.
Definitely, I like Pitt. I like, Shavonte Zealous over there on the wing. I had a chance to watch them play West Virginia on TV a couple weeks back near the end of the regular season. Obviously, we've seen Oklahoma early in the year. Tough matchup with UConn, but like you said, I had a chance to watch them on TV a couple times this past weekend. But it should be a really good matchup. Maybe not as good as this one though. Baylor and Louisville, man. What's your take on that?
Well, when you hear Louisville, you think of one person and one person only. That's Angel McCautry.
That's your girl.
And if she's gone this year, they've been able to go. So if you're Baylor right now, you got to figure out how to stop her and come up with a game plan to defend her. And obviously Baylor had a tough first opening weekend with their head coach being out for a day, and then they came back for the second game and they struggled a little bit. So you look at that coming into this week, I'm sure they're going to try to get some good practices in and come up with a game plan to stop McCautry. So it's really going to be is 5 better than 1 in this one.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, Baylor definitely with Kim Mulkey being in the hospital. Assistant coach Leon Baltimore, long-time Louisiana Tech coach, being able to take over for through the first game. They won in overtime versus Texas San Antonio, so being able to sneak that one out and sneak out a second-round win, and here they stand. It should be a really good matchup. Both, like you said, sum of all parts team in Baylor versus an Angel McCautry led Louisville. Turning our attention to the last game and maybe the most intriguing matchup with the different styles, Maryland and Vanderbilt. How do you feel about that one?
The Maryland-Vanderbilt game is going to be great. It's going to be really interesting to see what type of style succeeds, whether you have Maryland getting it up and down, playing similar like the Phoenix Suns do in the NBA, where they want to run on almost every possession, and maybe not concentrate on defending as much. When you have Vanderbilt, who's going to really try to get you in the half court, they're going to get the ball inside, and they've got Heather Worth in there who's going to be able to do some things for them. Obviously, all-conference SEC player. So it's going to be a really interesting contrast in style. Another thing about Vanderbilt is they've got some perimeter defenders in the freshman Gibbs, and so that are going to probably have this assignment of guarding Tolliver all night. So it's going to be interesting to see who can succeed in that.
Yeah, definitely. That's tough. You're absolutely right. Vandy's got Christina Worth there, the all-SEC kid, to complement Gibbs, and then Risper, who had a great night the other night with 23, chipping in, and they just have a lot of different people that can come in and hurt you. And then Maryland, obviously, led by Tolliver, and then Marissa Coleman as well. So it should be a great game. They do have that post presence down there with Lynetta Kaiser and then a couple other perimeter players to go with them. So, like you said, it's going to be running gun, Suns before Terry Porter, that is, and then Vanderbilt with Melanie Balcom and a half-court style that they like to play. So, should be a great weekend. We'll be tuned in. Hopefully you will be too, and we'll catch up with you soon. As always, Any Gym is Home.